There's been a name that's popped up in a couple of my recent reactions, Johan Cruyff. Today, we're gonna react to a documentary about him. That might be the most straightforward intro I've ever done on this channel. But I went for it a couple of like a minute just to make sure like this is like what we're looking for. I didn't watch anything, trust me. But today we're looking at football's greatest Johan Cruyff documentary by Trey Quartista from 8 years ago. So we know it's not AI because AI really wasn't a thing then yet. It didn't even exist. Maybe. Anyway, let's get into it. Johan Cruyff. Football's greatest.
Let the people come to the stadium and let them enjoy themselves. As long as you look to a certain way of playing, everybody can play.
That mindset.
Treat the ball well. Let it be your friend.
Let it be an extension of yourself.
When they saw us playing, everybody was happy. They just went home laughing. If you can laugh and enjoy yourself, it's one of the most important things there is.
I agree. Johan Cruyff.
Johan Cruyff. He was football's enigma. Not only would he ghost past defenders like they weren't there, he would outwit them too. Like a mathematician on the field, he always managed to find another angle. There would always be another dimension to his play. He had the perfect combination of intelligence and skill.
Damn, that's vicious.
He was very intelligent and had an overview of the whole game. And there aren't many that have that ability. There were some, but he was on another level.
He was a quick player with extraordinary ability, and he had sensational vision.
His reaction time looks nutty.
He made football into an art form, and Johan represented modernity, that winning spirit.
He was special. He was special.
So he played for Barca. We're not turning into a Barca only channel.
In the east of Amsterdam that Johan Cruyff grew up in the 1950s. His home was close to the old Ajax stadium, which was appropriate for such a talented kid. But there were some tough moments in childhood for the youngster.
My father died when I was 12, which means that my second father was taking care about the field of Ajax. My mother was working there, which means that, well, in between school times, from 12 to 2 or whatever, when you eat, you went there, which means it's, yeah, almost second home.
That makes sense.
You learn it on the street, like me. You know, most of the players from Ajax, they come from the street. You live 500 meters from the stadium. He wasn't like a son from us. He was a real Amsterdam boy.
Weren't those balls way heavier back then too? Like the material that they were made out of? It's kind of insane, right?
He was a real Amsterdam boy, you know? He was a real man of Amsterdam.
Then I was on the field and he was behind. He shoot the ball back to the trainers and he was always running and playing with the little guys.
He was a small friend of all the players, you know?
They were older, they were, yeah, they just guide me in the good things and in the bad things. When I had a good game and I talked a little too much, it was like, shut up or we'll find you.
The youngster, though, was something of a prodigy. Cruyff made his debut at the age of 17, scoring in his first match and making a name for himself on equal terms with the men he'd once seen as father figures.
They were players for the first team, and of course they were the idols of all young players at that stage. But at the same time, I saw them every day. So when I went into the first team, everybody says, "Were you nervous?" I said, "Well, I wasn't nervous. I went in the dressing room all the time as a young kid. It was just so natural, so automatic."
That makes sense. So yeah, he's just used to it.
Ajax were dominating the Dutch league. They won the Eredivisie with a little help from their young centre-forward, who got 25 goals in 23 games.
Now, first of all, we had a good team at that time. There were some very good players, and I was quite, at that time, still quite selfish. I knew where I had to go. My control was very quick because that's what I had to do my whole life. Otherwise, I would never have come to the first team.
Right.
So it was quite easy to score these goals. It was just based on my quality.
Fair enough. I respect that.
He was fantastic. He was so smart.
Sheesh.
He knows where the ball is coming. He saw everything. And he can play on every place in the team.
The 1960s were pioneering days for Ajax. Rinus Michels and his talented squad were developing a fluid style of play, a system that would become the celebrated total football.
My headset just like cut off. Okay, that was weird. My headset just randomly disconnected.
The 1960s were pioneering days for Ajax. Rinus Michels and his talented squad were developing a fluid style of play, a system that would become the celebrated total football.
Total football.
With a scholarly air, through method and precision, Michels became the master, commanding respect from his attentive pupils.
En in mindere mate dus de competitie buiten enkele wedstrijd. Vraagt dus 2,5 keer geen seconde verslagen.
And in Cruyff, Michels had the perfect player to put his ideas into action on the pitch. He was Ajax's star. But there were...
Can anybody translate what was said right here? I don't think there's actually a subtitles that function. Maybe it does. Hold on, I want to run that back a little bit.
En in mindere mate dus de competitie buiten enkele wedstrijd. Vraagt dus 2,5 keer.
Okay, yeah, it doesn't have actual subtitles.
And in Cruyff, Michels had the perfect player to put his ideas into action on the pitch. He was Ajax's star.
Ooh.
But there were times when even Johan Cruyff was brought back down to earth.
That catches to say.
The trainer say no smoking, Michels. And we come from the training in the car and we drive 200 meters and he stopped with the car. And he make cigarettes and he smoked a cigarette after the training.
We had to do some training in the woods, running, and I hated running. The second goalkeeper and myself, we were behind the tree, smoking a cigarette until they were coming by. And then one day we were just smoking, and then the coach was behind the tree. So he said to me, next day was the day off. Next day you've got to train because we can't accept that and all these sort of things. I was there on the place at 7 o'clock. Then the coach came in his car, in his pyjama. He said, it's too early, it's too cold, bye-bye. So he turned around, went home again. And I was there looking like a fool.
Whatever went on behind the scenes in Amsterdam, Michels and Cruyff were going places. And in 1969, Ajax made it to the final of the European Cup, where they met AC Milan.
We had to pass the first final of the European Cup. At that time was in Madrid against Milan. And we lost there.
Dude, I can't hit any buttons right. Is the European Cup something similar to what we have like now, like the Europa Leagues and stuff? Did it like, was that something that like came before a lot of our like modern leagues? Because I did a deep dive a while ago, and there are a bunch of leagues that don't exist anymore. They were replaced with things like the Europa League, the Conference League, specifically Champions League, Europa Conference League, and all the other stuff. Like, is this kind of like one of those leagues that used to exist? I think I've heard the name before, but let me know.
Not because we were worse, but the experience was not there. But you have to go through these mistakes. You had to learn from it. And then the great period started in '71.
He said the great
It was
period?
a bright London evening at Wembley Stadium, June the 2nd, 1971. It turned out to be the first defining moment for Johan Cruyff and his Ajax side.
Ooh, that was clean.
It was the beginning of the Ajax era, where the likes of Real Madrid and Benfica once ruled. European competition would now be dominated by a small club from the east of Amsterdam.
This is what makes football amazing.
In their organization, an amateur club. I think maybe 10 or 20 persons were working there. you didn't have directors, you didn't have, no, there was a president, and then, yeah, people who did it in their spare time.
A year on, in 1972, Ajax were preparing for another final, this time with a new coach, Stefan Kovacs, in charge. It was Ajax against Internazionale at the De Kuip Stadium in Rotterdam, and in the second half, Cruyff took the game to the Italians.
Beautiful. I love the idea that this started from basically nothing.
You had somebody marking you wherever you go, and it just was waiting for the moment to be alert, to do what you have to do. If you do
that makes sense.
He will react, and that's what I had when I scored a goal with my head.
Since that's what you have to do is necessary, that makes sense. I like that.
2 goals from Cruyff brought Ajax their second European Cup. They were now in a period of phenomenal success, and there was never any doubting who was the jewel in the crown.
Johan was a natural-born leader. He was the driving force of Ajax and our team. He always had that in him, and this was very important to Ajax.
It was Johnny Rep who scored the goal in 1973 that beat Juventus in Belgrade. 3 in a row for Ajax and Johan Cruyff.
It was a fantastic achievement because I think, I don't know, not a lot of clubs did it. So you came into a select group of clubs within Europe.
I played 7-8 years with him, and we win 3 times the European Cup together. And he was the best.
But this was to be the last time that Cruyff would hold the European Cup as a player. Despite the celebrations, there were problems behind the scenes, which meant that Ajax's star had to move on.
Really?
From the club on, there was no discipline. From nobody, not from the president to the players, not from the players to the coach, not from the coach to this. It was a pity because I think they could have held a few more years. You can get angry, that's what I did, and tried to keep these things together, but it was almost impossible after these 3 cups.
So in 1973, the European Player of the Year, the best player in the world at the time, chose to sign for Barcelona. For the locals, the arrival of Cruyff and the impact he had was as good as a miracle.
So, I'm sorry, I'm just thinking back to the story that they mentioned here earlier about how Ajax really didn't have that many people running for it, working for it, and they ended up winning 3 European Cups. I mean, like, that is just another example of a lot of how you guys have told me how many clubs have started from, a guy working in a factory, and then, they started from the ground up and became something big, successful. You know what I'm saying? I always love seeing these little, like, nuances here after reading through a lot of your comments and stuff. It just really keeps adding on to, like, how true all of this is. Not that I didn't believe any of you. It adds another layer to it. So, yeah, I love that.
Yeah, the best player in the world at the time chose to sign for Barcelona. For the locals, the arrival of Cruyff and the impact he had was as good as a miracle.
When Johan arrived here in Barcelona, the club was going through, let's say, a strange period. Even though we were playing well and had good players, we weren't winning anything. But when Cruyff arrived, in the footballing sense, it was like the Big Bang, which really reactivated the team.
I wonder if you had to ever play Ajax.
Not to go back and have a look what happens. No, go out there and just try to win and win.
Right, that makes sense.
Barcelona at that time had some good players, but they didn't think like that. And the moment they start thinking like that, it was a very good team.
Look at all these names. Pele. I saw Pele in there. I wonder what channel this is from.
Back then, Barcelona hadn't won the league for 14 years. The club and the city needed a saviour.
Damn, 14.
I remember it all from the very first day he arrived. Barcelona was second from bottom, and the first match was against Granada at home. We won 4-0 and Johan scored 2 goals, and we didn't lose a single game until we were champions. That league...
I just realized this is young Laporta. Yo, this is actually kind of freaky. Yo, this is actually kind of wild looking at younger Laporta.
Barcelona was second from bottom, and the first match was against Granada at home. We won 4-0 and Johan scored 2 goals, and we didn't lose a single game until we were champions. That
Respect.
league of 73-74 was the best memory of my childhood. It was sensational.
It was a season full of sensational moments, like the goal that Cruyff scored against Atletico Madrid, the phantom goal as it became known to Catalans, who'll remember that season for many reasons.
That goal was majestic.
I remember the goal he scored against Atletico Madrid and the 5-0 victory in the Bernabeu when we played with Mora and De Portero.
Del fútbol español, el Real Madrid y el Club de Fútbol Barcelona. Estrellas internacionales en los dos bandos.
Real Madrid against Barcelona at the Bernabeu was perhaps the most famous match Cruyff ever played for Barcelona.
It was fantastic for me as a player to play Madrid. It was such a huge thing, first to play in Bernabeu, and then if you saw the game, we played very well.
Barcelona didn't just play well, they won 5-0.
I think that for those of us who were lucky enough to play in that team, we'll remember that match forever.
Yeah.
Things were beginning to change in Spain. People were starting to be able to say what they thought politically. And in that sense, a result like that against a team like Madrid, in their own ground, sent shockwaves around Europe.
Wow. The ball relates to politics once again.
Almost every Catalan saw this as a symbolic victory over Madrid. At the time, Spain was still under the dictatorship of Franco, a particularly tough time for Catalonia.
Oh, wow. It's funny how we just learned about Catalonia.
Live here, then you see the differences between Catalonia and Franco at that time, and what it meant for them to have the best player of Europe at that time, because they gave me the golden boy ball a few times. And so for them it was something that, we outplayed, let's say, Madrid.
1974 was also a World Cup year, and Holland arrived in West Germany with Cruyff, the best player in the world at the time, and with a growing reputation as a footballing nation.
69, 70, 71, 72, 73, all these summers, a Dutch team was in the final of the European Cup. Then everybody realized, hey, we've got a big name to defend now. We, 5 years of dominating Europe, we can't look like fools. It's impossible.
But Holland were never going to look like fools. Stars like Johan Neeskens, Johnny Rep, as well as Cruyff himself would see to that.
I respect that.
It's not a question of pressure, it was more responsibility. Michaels was a big help because he arranged the organization outside the field, and I could arrange it inside the field.
Once again, it was the Cruyff-Michels partnership. They'd been together at Ajax, then Barcelona, and now with Holland, they brought total football to the World Cup.
I love that name, total football.
It just grew naturally from that base. Nobody really consciously made up this style. We had attacking defenders, midfielders who played deep, and everyone attacked. This became what is known as total football.
Like Total War, almost.
Against Sweden, Cruyff produced the move that defined his talents. It took a couple of seconds to lose the defender, but we've been talking about the Cruyff turn ever since.
I never did on the training or...
Wait, hold on. I want to look at that again.
But we've been talking about the Cruyff turn ever since.
Ooh.
I never did on the training or in free times tricks. I never did tricks. I saw something and I did it, and it just came out.
That's how you know you're a genius.
There and you had to outplay him. So that was the easiest way, so you just do it.
Against Argentina, Cruyff got his first goal of the tournament. The Orange Machine was gathering force, but the biggest challenge was still to come.
The big game was against Brazil, the World Champions. That was really a game where everybody was focused. We didn't only outplay the Brazilians, but we outplayed them with the best football. We just played football which the world loved, and that against the Brazilians.
Remind me, was Pele on this roster? I'm trying to remember back to the video we watched about Pele. Was he on this Brazilian roster? I think he should have been. Yeah.
After 65 minutes, Cruyff produced a clinical finish to another flamboyant Dutch move. Holland were in the final.
Another
They were the
flamboyant
face to host
Dutchman.
West Germany, but they arrived at Munich's Olympiastadion in confident mood.
We knew we were much better. We were not afraid at all.
Damn.
It was an extraordinary start to a World Cup final. Cruyff picked up the ball and took on the German defence. He got a
He's
penalty,
doing it.
and Johan Neeskens blasted it home. Holland were ahead before any West German player had even touched the ball.
You knew they were Germans. Germans is always difficult. It's one of their qualities, their mentality, and they will go until the end.
The Germans fought back. They too won a penalty, which Paul Breitner drove home. The German reaction didn't stop there, and by half-time they were ahead, this time through Gerd Müller.
All right, now they're going to lock in.
A little too confident, and we missed such a lot of chances. Such a lot of chances. So we played quite well, but the details were not there. And you saw it in too many small, different details. One of the things were scoring the goals.
Yeah,
So
they're probably
Cruyff and his
overthinking.
Dutch team that had captured the imagination of so many finished as the losing finalists.
Oh, man.
We really had a great time there. It was just a shame we didn't win the final. We kind of forgot we had to win, which was a shame.
Yeah, but like I said, maybe we were too confident. Yeah, it's a good expression. It's very good.
He may have been on the losing side, but that team made a lasting impression on Dutch football. Cruyff and his side of 1974 were the inspiration for the generations that followed.
Started with Cruyff, and yeah, he's like the godfather of Dutch football. When I was 10 or 9 or 11, playing on the streets, watching television, I saw Van Hanegem, I saw Jansen or Krol or Neeskens or Cruyff, and for me that's the great Dutch generation.
It's a shame because whenever you do go into something a little overconfident and you start making those like little mistakes, you're going to start overthinking and not going into it with a clear head anymore. So it's like you go in there confident, you make mistakes, now you're not confident, you don't you don't hit that mental reset. That's with anything that could be, with a school assignment or a test, or in this case, the final of a World Cup, which is obviously above all of those other things I just listed. But yeah, confidence is something that's good to have. But you got to make sure you can live up to it, man, and you don't start falling apart when your confidence starts going down. Stay confident even when you're losing.
He inspired us a lot, all the youth of Holland, and I think we all young boys wanted to play like him.
Feeling increasingly pressurised by international football, Cruyff decided that would be his last World Cup. There was also an attempt to kidnap his family.
I made the decision to stop in '78. And not I didn't mention it a month before or 2 months before. I said already 4 or 5 years before. I didn't go to the World Champion in '78 too because we had a problem at home. People who made an attack on us. So I said, hey, I'm in the wrong time. Too many crazy people. Let's calm down.
That's insane.
In 1974, Cruyff was named the European Player of the Year for a third time as he continued as Barcelona's star. For many, he's the most influential player the club has ever had.
Ever?
Johan revolutionized the city and the country. He transformed Barcelona and Catalonia because during his time here, he turned football into an art form. Johan was innovative and a breath of fresh air. It was an extraordinary feeling, and he touched a lot of people.
That's fair. That's fair. Okay.
After 5 years at Barcelona, 48 goals and 143 appearances, Cruyff retired from football for a short time, but he wasn't away for long.
I went to the United States. It was a great experience. I learned there a lot of things, especially in managing and all these sort of things.
Watch now as Johan Cruyff demonstrates both grace and poise and explosiveness.
That 80s music.
Perhaps the greatest player active in the sport of soccer today. He cuts between defenders, goes to his left, and left puts the goal into the back of the net.
It's so funny to me how a lot of people or a lot of these players ended up going to the US at one point or another. Also, I learned that it was the English that invented the word soccer, not the Americans. Just saying. No, but seriously, it's interesting because, you know, for the rep that soccer over here gets, yeah, it's always interesting seeing a lot of these players, especially even during these times, go to the U.S. Soccer football ecosystem. It's interesting.
Thank you, Johan Cruyff and Chris Dangerfield. 5 of the 7 goals tonight, and good luck to you in the playoffs. Thanks very much. Okay, back to you, Tom.
Okay. After spells with the Los Angeles Aztecs and the Washington Diplomats, Cruyff felt the time was right to head home.
The Washington Diplomats.
Return for Ajax against Haarlem.
There was a lot of skepticism in the way that he was. You know, he did have an age, and how is he going to be? And I think even the first half he did some, you know, he just made an unbelievable goal. And I think that was probably one of the moments where I was most proud of all, you know, because your classmates and everybody, you know, how is your father going to play? And when he put up that show, you know, it was for me an incredible moment.
Yeah.
There were more incredible moments to come, including the famous pass from a penalty. He scored 14 goals, 36 games in his second Ajax spell. But perhaps the biggest surprise of all was when he put on the shirt of rivals Feyenoord and actually scored against his former team.
Really?
Then as head coach back at Ajax, he won the European Cup Winners' Cup in 1987 with a goal from his protégé, Marco van Basten. And when he took the job as head coach at Barcelona, Cruyff's career had come full circle.
It took some time, work and to be strong inside to achieve what we wanted to achieve. And what is the way we played with Holland, the way we played with Ajax, and I thought you could have the possibilities here to do the same thing here, and that's what he achieved.
Back at Barcelona, Cruyff put together a team that played football how he wanted the game to be played. They called it El Dream Team, and they even managed to beat Real Madrid 5-0 as well.
Barcelona gave Cruyff the opportunity to put his footballing philosophy into practice. And there you had the example in the famous Dream Team that won consecutive titles.
Consecutive,
so Johan and the club's ideas became inseparable. They were synonymous with each other.
Wow.
But perhaps
I know, you know, a lot of you have joked that I'm becoming a Barcelona focused channel. I do think as somebody who claims that he's going to be a fan of such a storied and legendary club, it is important that I at least know these like little bits of history. You know, I don't know how many modern people know these histories, but I like knowing what happened before, you know, with the club and learning like the little bits and whatever that inevitably led to, like, you know, the superstar eras and everything like that. I think it's just good information that that I'm, you know, in consuming. It helps you get a better understanding of a lot of the passionate history just behind these clubs, you know?
Johan and the club's ideas became inseparable. They were synonymous with each other.
But perhaps Cruyff's finest achievement in all the years he's been associated with Barcelona was to win the European Cup in 1992. Ronald Koeman scored in a 1-0 win against Sampdoria at Wembley.
Good old Wembley.
Almost 100 years, existed, never won it. And now you didn't only win it, but the way you won it. They don't talk about you. No, you won the game. No, we enjoy watching. And enjoy watching the games from Barcelona is much more important than only winning.
Even now his life still revolves around sport. The Johan Cruyff Institute for Sports Studies has centres around the world helping athletes build their future careers. And the Cruyff Foundation helps kids who didn't have the chance to excel at sport.
I was very happy myself. The things you achieve, but if you see these kids and you see just don't see their handicap, but just watching their eyes, it's something so nice, so beautiful. I think I'm very fortunate that I can do something for these children.
I love that, man. Give it back.
On a football pitch in Amsterdam, but by the time that Cruyff had played his last game, he could be spoken about as one of the very greatest players of all time.
Wow.
I think he's one of those, you know, the legends whose name is always going to be spoken about with you know, with the Pelés, the Maradonas. The rest of us were just mortals, you know. We come and we go.
Damn.
Johan Cruyff, Maradona, Pelé, Eusebio, they were all fantastic players.
Who?
But yeah, Johan was...
Wait, what was his name? What was the other guy's name?
Players. But yeah, Johan was the greatest.
I'm sorry, I want to hear the name again. I should have just tabbed backwards, whatever.
Maradona, Pelé, Eusebio.
Eusebio.
All fantastic players.
I've never heard that name before.
Johan was the greatest.
Since we're going down this quest of legendary players, that name that he said, I need a video on that, or at least.
Proud of it. You have to be proud of it. And from that stage on, to be proud, don't think about it too much, because you might get big-headed or whatever. But
yeah,
it's just that I had a fantastic career where I enjoyed myself very much.
Well, that's good. It's always good to make sure you're enjoying yourself. I'm gonna need that name spelled out for that other legendary player. Oh shit, that's it. All right, so I did have this video that I wanted to look at next from Daily Dose of Football, but I definitely wanted to get this first, like a little bit of an impression based off, you know, like I don't know anything about Johan Cruyff. I gotta remember how to say these names correctly. This was a treat. I love learning history about players. First time ever hearing about this name, and then suddenly I'm just seeing so many comments about, you need to react to this, you need to react to this. So I'm glad we did. I want to check out more videos related to him. And then eventually I want to check out the name that was mentioned at the end, who I couldn't really fully make out. That was up there with Pelé, Maradona, Johan. And then we also need to watch like a full like documentary on the life of Maradona, because we've done that for pretty much all of the other greats. I need to do one for Cristiano Ronaldo, probably Ronaldinho, because I've watched mostly just highlights of him, but I would like to learn more about his history as a player, and then all of the apparently wacky stuff that he's done afterwards. So yeah, but we will watch more stuff about Johan. Thanks again for suggesting this as we continue to do our football history deep dive on this channel, and you know, help me learn more about a lot of the histories behind it, these different legendary players, these different eras, and in between learning more about the political strifes of what was just going on during these times and when these players were, you know, I'm glad I have the opportunity to learn this, and I'm glad I have you guys to suggest me all this cool stuff. So thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, let me know in the comments about leaving a like on it, and sub to the channel for more reactions. And as always, this has been your boy Jay. I will catch you in the next video. I hope you have a great day. Peace.